Let's bring Ricky Foley in now, three-time Grey Cup champion, Hall of Famer in waiting, joining us from Southern Ontario. Ricky, how are you, my friend?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good. I got questions for you from viewers, by the way. Some good ones that I think you'll have fun with. But have you been hearing our conversation here about NFL Canada, maybe NFL swallowing up the CFL? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't even want to even really acknowledge too much with the NFL right now, to be honest with you. Like, I'm a little worried about they have a season and CFL doesn't. I'm worried about like losing a few of these loyal fan base who choose the CFL instead of the NFL. Like, every year you've got a choice to make. Sometimes on the weekend, what are you going to watch? And I know a lot of our fan base is loyal to the CFL. I'm just worried about not having a CFL season, and then losing some of those fans to the football south of the border.
Well, I guess the point is here that we're just assuming there's no season, so we're going to the next thing. What's it going to be, right? I mean, hey, you're following the commissioner talking to government, obviously, and the players now waiting for an answer. I mean, what's your view on where we sit here 100-plus days into the pandemic?
My view on life, or my view on just the CFL?
The CFL.
I think leadership is failing the fans and the players terribly. I have never met Randy in person, so I don't really want to speak to his character. That's not fair to the man. But as far as a leadership point of view, like, I put a tweet out maybe 2 weeks ago before we started to get heat, and it got taken down, but it was a wanted poster for, where's Randy Ambrosie? And it's just, they need to understand that this isn't the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, who, by the way, already have plans in place, who the players already have some kind of direction or mandate. We're not sitting on $1 million in our accounts where we can just sit back and relax. Like, these guys, have it to stretch out 6 months of the year, their last paycheck a lot of times. And like you saw with Wilder, like, you're just going to see people having really star players in this league are going to have to go and take regular jobs and get into the transition. We got to have something better than just going to the government asking for $150 million and expecting everything to be okay. I really feel bad for Sully right now and the PA, because what's he supposed to tell his membership? I just don't know what to say right now. I don't approve of the leadership at the top right now from a league standpoint.
Tad Cornegay is watching in New York City, by the way, and he says, "Tell Ricky he looks amazing. Send me some of that youth juice." Ha ha. Tad has said he's leaving the show 5 times, and he keeps sitting there. He can't tear himself away from the screen, which wouldn't surprise you. Ricky, you've obviously thought about, what if I was playing now? You must have thought about it. You're probably glad you're retired. I mean, take us inside the situation of a CFL player right now. It looks terrible, but you've lived it. What would it be like?
At this point, getting this close to camp, knowing that, with a wife and family, maybe as a young guy with not having that much responsibility, might be okay. You might be able to crash your mom and dad, someone like that type of deal. I'm not sure. But if you have any kind of responsibility, mortgage payments, this and that, I would have already been looking into other options. And if I got an option that was good long term, that was something I liked, I mean, it'd be a really hard decision. I don't know how many of these employers, hopefully they would have some kind of compassion where, you could take a job for the short term, hey, treat it like an internship type of deal, then I'll come back after the season. But I don't even know from like the mental standpoint of, like, we train every off season to win a championship, to accomplish certain goals. Like, what's the goal right now when it's just up in the air with what, is there going to be a season? Is there not? Like, why am I taxing my body? Why am I spending this money on nutrition? Why am I spending this money that I don't have coming back in on therapy and massage and chiro and all these things that people don't think about? They're not supplied during the off season for CFL players. There are a little bit, but hardly anything, like $500 kind of for each one of those therapies. So most guys at this point have blown through it if they had any kind of injury going into the off season. So I'm telling you right now, even in the best of times, when you're going to training camp 1st of June, I have heard through the years, I mean, players are making more money now, but I've heard through the years of guys hitting up their teams in April asking for an advance, on their report to camp bonus. So I can only imagine what it is right now for a lot of guys out there. And I've heard, and it's not good.
Matt Baker of the BC Lions front office writes in, says, all the time in the world for Ricky Foley. Hell of a guy. Hope you're well. That's from Matt Baker. Bakes takes, as you know.
Hey, Thomas, what's up?
Yeah, Tony Cernick writes in and says, don't forget, it's the government telling the CFL they can't play. That's a misnomer, Tony, because the government's telling me that I can't go do corporate speaking or talk to schools because the kids can't be in school, or the corporations can't fill a banquet room but I'm not getting compensated by the government. I've been told no. And so, Ricky, you kind of said it earlier, I'll say it again. If you think that Ottawa just writing you a check is going to save the CFL, it's like the guy last week that said, Rod, you want to start a restaurant? Just go find a rich guy and put all the risk on him. I mean, if that's your business plan, that's a bad plan. If the CFL thinks Ottawa's going to save them, it's not saving anything. And they might not even get the money.
Yeah, no, I think the difference is here is I understand that but the government's also telling the other leagues they have a mandate for them as well. You know, the government's told the other leagues this is what you need to follow, like get a plan. Like all these other leagues have made a plan, came up with super creative safety concepts on their own, probably working in conjunction with government or local officials, but we have nothing. We don't have any what ifs. We don't have like, if all goes well, we can do this. Here's a plan for each one of the facilities. Here's a plan for how we're going to deal with if someone gets sick. And then, what it is. There's no plan. There's nothing. And that's my issue. Give us something. If there's not going to be a season, tell us why there wouldn't be a season. Surely the league leadership and owners have made considerations about best case scenario, worst case scenario, and somewhere in between. Just let the players and fans hear what it is, so we can have some bit of direction here. That's all we're asking for, really. I just want to know what has to happen for there to be a season, and what can stop it from happening, and what kind of. I just don't hear any plans. Like all I've heard out of this leadership from this new commissioner and front office is we're going to expand to Mexico and Europe, and that's the only thing I've heard about. That's all I've heard about. Haven't heard nothing about Halifax. Don't even get me started on that, because I think you abandoned those guys down there and spent too much time overseas. But whatever. I just don't agree with it. And I'm a CFL fan. It's given me so much as a player to me and my family. And I want to see it thrive. I want to see the fans be rewarded for their loyalty. And quite honestly, I'm just worried with the leadership in place right now. And I have been. This is before COVID. I was worried about it. And even more so now.
Wow, Ricky, you're killing it today, and I appreciate it. Some fun questions, because it is kind of gloom and doomy for a Monday morning. Colin says, ask Ricky. Colin in Ottawa says, ask Ricky if Adriano Bally was the most craziest teammate he's ever had. It's a long list, I'm sure. Who is the craziest one?
See, there's publicly crazy, and they don't mind to be seen as such. And then there's like behind the scenes locker room, kind of crazy. Best belly story I got is we're playing the last game ever in the Sky Dome. And it's just me, it's Jeff Keeping, and a young rookie who I won't mention his name. He's now playing in Winnipeg. And Adriano isn't at this point on the team. Like he hasn't played football for a couple years or whatever. But he was in the stands watching the game. And there's just us in the shower. It's the last time ever. It's kind of like nostalgic for me and Keeping, just kind of like, having a couple pops after the game. The young guy's there because he got hurt. He had some therapy. So he's just kind of hanging out with the veterans. We're kind of shooting the crap or whatever. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this 6'5", 300-pound Italian man walk in the shower butt naked. Like, Adriano, what are you doing here, man? So he had somehow made his way out of the stands, down into the locker room, into the shower, and the old girl, as he said it. And he made himself known to the rookie, and the rookie didn't know who this guy was. Like he might have known who Adriano Bella was, the name, but he didn't recognize the face. I don't think he was trying to make eye contact, first of all. And man, you should have saw a look on this rookie's face. Like, just who is this stranger, this massive man coming in butt naked into a shower who's not on our team and I never met before? Like, that's just belly. So there's a million stories like that with him. So he's tough to beat.
Oh, everybody's getting a mental picture right now. And by the way, some might put you in that category in terms of flipping tables, right? And Gatorade coolers everywhere. I mean, Most people don't do that, right?
Yeah, no, I let it rip, man. That's it. I let it rip. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. And I'll say this. I'll say about the craziness and the emotion. It was awesome to a certain point, but then you had to kind of. It felt almost. Sometimes you might have to force it, because once you get the reputation as being like a pump up guy, or a guy who's going to lose and say the right thing or do the right thing when it's needed. Sometimes it's hard to gauge whether or not is this needed, is it natural, is it organic, would it come off as rehearsed? And so I didn't like thinking so much as a leader when I got into my older career. I liked it when I was young, and a lot of the crazy stuff I did could just be like, oh, he's young, he's just a hothead. Don't mind him. That was cooler, really.
Wait, hey, it's okay when people think you're crazy. They kind of stay away from you. Trust me, I know. But Ricky and I, we had a talk. We got lost driving from Regina to Sedley, and we got hit. I know, it's crazy to believe that. We had Henry Burris in the back seat, and I was revealing all these things to Ricky that he never really knew before. He's like, really? That went on? Which reminds me, here's my last question for you, Ricky, and it was from a viewer, Greg. He said, the next time you get Ricky on, can you ask him this question? What were the circumstances of him departing Ryderville? And I said, when you left the Riders, and I said, I don't really recall it being that sensationalistic or scandalous, but you're looking at me like there was. Was it bad?
I mean, I loved Brendan Taman. Like that's my guy, man. He was really good to me. The things that he had to manufacture to try to get that team together for the Grey Cup, man. He made a lot of promises to guys, and guys trusted his word. And as far as I know, he held up his end of the bargain. Like that's my guy right there. Chame, Chame, had a lot of great conversation with him. I think he was just doing what he thought he had to do to win, So, but I couldn't believe it happened because, someone had called me during, I was still playing. Put it this way, I won't put the name out there, but someone had called me with the Argonauts during the playoffs. They were out of the playoffs that year, and we were still playing, and had said, hey, don't sign, because my friends on the team had told this guy, don't sign, that I was going to sign with the Riders. I had dealt with Damon, was going to sign at the end of the season because of salary cap rules, blah, blah. It was in place. I trusted him. And I was so happy to come back to Ryderville. Like, had a great year, double-digit sacks. We probably would have repeated. Darian doesn't get hurt. I'm thinking, like, we still had a few more runs in this team. All right, cool. I get paid this, do sign the contract. I ignore the Toronto guy, the front office guy saying, don't sign. We want you back in Toronto. I said, no, thank you. I'm happy here. I get this big signing bonus, offseason bonus from Saskatchewan. As soon as that signing bonus, I get it. Now this Toronto guy comes back, and now that my salary's lower and he doesn't have to pay me that bonus, they go, and like I told them, I didn't want to go back and play in Toronto in that locker room. I love Saskatchewan. I shouldn't say locker room, I should say portable. I didn't want to go back to portable. Like, I was enjoying Saskatchewan, wanted to finish my career there. My wife, my fiance at the time, had made plans to get a teaching job out there. We were all in. And I was in Vancouver with my fiance. Time change difference. I checked my phone. I'm like 100 messages, like 24 missed calls. Like, what's going on? All these Saskatchewan numbers, and like get on the phone with Brendan saying I've been traded. And I was just crushed, man. That was not good. So, yeah, it is what it is. I guess. Then the next year, man, come training camp, we have training camp at York University in Toronto for the Argos. And I'm like in my old locker, and they think they're doing me like a service, saying like, oh, we got you your own locker, your old locker back. I'm like, man, I don't want to go back to York University. I'm 12 years in here. I've been in the NFL. Like, I was at the Mecca playing Saskatchewan and all kinds of fans, and now you're at York University? Shoot, yeah. Anyways, what are you going to do?
You're over it. Hey, as we learn, everything happens for a reason, and I'm talking to so many guys now that have gone through that stuff, and I say, guys, nobody gets a 21-gun salute on their way out of town, and if you got screwed on the way out of town, That's more like it too. So the sooner you deal with it and get over it, you get on with your life. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right, man. And Riders have been great to me since then. Like, always coming back to the province, always doing events. I can't wait till they have a reunion with that team from 13, man. That's such a good group of guys, man. I miss them all. And yeah.
Yeah, it is going to be fantastic. Ricky, this was great. Thanks for the update, man. Good to see you. Say hey to your dad for us, and let's do it again soon.
I will. Good to see you too, Rod.
All right, Ricky Foley joining us from Southern Ontario today. We got all the stories out. And he got the stuff off his chest, too.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.